At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
Support the programs you love and wear your Mississippi pride on your sleeve, literally, with the new merch on the MPB shop. Check out our latest drop with apparel from your favorite TV and radio shows, both current and throwback, featuring fan favorites like Next Stop Mississippi, Southern Dish, Hampton Wired, and more. Every purchase you make supports MPB. Visit mpbonline.org and click the shop button at the top to show your support today.
Folks, okie dokie, welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing, Java and me, and we got Abram and John C. On the live stream. And for the next couple of hours, we're just going to talk about gardening in the South. If you're not in the South or someplace else, give me a try, because I work pretty much all over the country and even overseas, so we can try to adapt. Because gardening is the same no matter where you are. I don't care if it's Japan or South America, Africa, Europe, California, it doesn't matter. Gardening is just people sticking stuff in the ground or in some dirt and trying to make do with the best they got. So for the next little while, if you want to give us a call and talk about what's going on or not in your garden, bring it on. Toll free, 1-877-MPB-RING. Java, you got any rain at all?
I got a little bit of rain the other day, but what was something else that was interesting was the what was that, the kind of an eclipse the other night.
Oh yeah, a partial eclipse of the moon. Somebody on Mississippi Gardening Facebook posted a picture of one of their night blooming cereus flowers blooming with the eclipse of the moon in the background. That was weird. Did you see it?
Yeah, I caught a little glimpse. It was like the I would say the toenail of the moon was still peeking out, but it was pretty cool to see.
Good. Well, we got a lot of stuff going on. By the way, I don't know if you've noticed, but for folks who are on live stream, you can see this, but my background is a Scrabble. I go to the library here in Lancashire just about every week. And when I'm in there, they have a Scrabble game laid out, where they give you a bunch of letters, come up with words, you get numbers. They keep a running tally. Anyway, every week I came up with one. Well, this past week, I stole some of their letters, and I spell out the word Gestalt.
That looks like a very expensive set. Those are not the little cheap plastic.
Oh, no, it's a little plastic thing. It's not very. Matter of fact, let's see if John C. or Abrams away back there can put up picture number 2. I sent several pictures to show it. Folks, if you're on live stream, you'll see this. If you're not on live stream, then you can go to YouTube anytime and in the search box do Gestalt Gardener, or else you can go to mpbonline.org and fiddle around till you find the radio. But look what I came up with, Java. It's a Gestalt at the top, radios, show in the middle, learn, down, gardener, learn, and MPB, all on Scrabble.
Yeah, we're going to get that over to the social team, see if they can put that up. That's a nice
If they want to, let me know, and I'll send you a high-res picture of it. But I'm just having fun with Scrabble. But Gestalt Gardener radio show, Gardener is where we learn and we listen and we share. That's what we do. That's what MPB, Mississippi Public Broadcasting, is all around. So with that in mind, let me just jump in. It is a call-in program, and we hope that people can take time just to call and chat. It's not formal. I won't holler at you. I won't make you feel stupid if you don't know everything. Because in a little while I'll share something I was stupid about last week. But let me jump right out with something that's going on in Mississippi right now. If y'all could put up picture number 3. This is it's 2 stems of a shrub that have clusters of Java. I've shown this picture before. I don't know if it's purple or magenta or it's not red. It's not. I don't even know what color it is.
It looks like
But
a
it's
good
called
purple.
American. What do you think it is?
Like a purple. Yeah.
It's kind of purplish, but it's called American beautyberry. I've heard it called all sorts of French mulberry, but it's a native plant called beautyberry, and so it's a medium-sized native shrub. Grows all out in the woods. When you put it in the landscape, it has little tiny clusters of pink flowers that are really good for butterflies in the summertime. But right now, it's got golf ball sized clusters of these purple berries spaced out along the stem, and they're coming in full color right now. And a lot of people have grown them without realizing that they're edible. They don't taste good. They have 0 sugar. It's like eating I don't even know what it tastes like. It's just real mealy tasting. But it's used as a filler in a lot of the things like pemmican. But in the background, what I wanted to show folks was if you've enjoyed the American beautyberry, by the way, the Latin name is Calicarpa americana, if anybody cares about that. But in the background is a picture of a similar one. This is the Chinese version. Java, a lot of people don't realize that parts of China and parts of North America were once hooked together. When the continents drifted apart, they've got dogwoods and magnolias and azaleas. We do too. But they also have a type of the beautyberry. It's the Chinese beautyberry. Instead of having big golf ball sized clusters, it's got pairs of smaller clusters. It's a tidier plant. It's not, it doesn't, it stays compact. It fits in landscapes better. It's hard to find commercially, but it's just a really good, same quality, same butterflies, same wildlife eats the berries. It just fits a little bit better. I just want to throw that out. If you like native plants, but sometimes a little bit unruly, I don't have a problem with you growing things that are sort of native. I say sort of native, almost identical to we got. As a matter of fact, I have I talked with last week with a landscape architect from North Carolina. His name is Jay Sifford. Really insightful. Matter of fact, the 4 cornerstones of his what he calls great garden designer: art, story, magic, and horticulture. Art and magic and storytelling are more important to him than the horticulture because it's all about design and stuff. Anyway, he came up with this interesting idea, Java, and I've been playing with this, as you know, for a long time, looking how other people use our wildflowers and native plants in regular gardens. And he had an interesting concept. Is there a perfectly normal looking landscape with all the bells and whistles, paving, walls, seats, arbors, art, it just looks like a regular yard that is all native plants? Is it possible? And still look normal to your neighbors? So anyway, I came up with this idea and I wrote an article for Mississippi, what's it called? Mississippi Press Association, the folks who send stuff to all the weekly and daily papers in the state. I write for them every week. I did one this week about how to have a perfectly normal, regular yard that just happens to be native plants. And they don't look native, they don't look wild. It's just a regular yard. So anyway, it's possible. Don't know if you really need to do that because I love daffodils and roses. But anyway, if you've ever wondered, can you have a native landscape that doesn't look wild and all that kind of stuff? And it is possible. Anyway, I appreciate Jay Sifford, who we could have as a guest sometime. So anyway, that's a little catch up there. What I've been doing this week, thinking about how our native plants are used in other places, but more important, can we use them not as native plants, but as just good garden plants that are adapted to our landscape? And it's possible to do that. So anyway, you're going to have to let me know if we got some calls, John, because I can't see nothing.
Well, you know what? We got some calls, man.
A call came pouring in. Good, because I got a real big fess up to talk about when we come back. But who we got on the line?
Let's talk with Jeff in Brandon.
Morning, Jeff. What's going on in Rankin County?
Hey, Mr. Rushing. I have a problem. We have a piece of property with our home. We've been there 50 years, and it was there built in 1900, and they're old oak trees, massive oak trees.
Yeah.
And the past few years, these oak trees are 2 and 3 a year dying. And when we have them removed, the inside of the oak tree is hollow.
Yeah.
And I have about 4 left that are strategically placed around my house, and I wanted to know if you have any suggestions. I don't know if it's a lightning strike. I've read that, or if it's disease.
Well, it could be something completely normal. And first of all, you've been living in Brandon when Brandon was way out in the country.
Yes,
It was a long ways from Jackson. Had to cross the Pearl River on that old bridge on old Highway 80. It's not, it's really normal for older trees to be hollow, and it can be caused by lightning strike. It could be a broken branch. A lot of times what happens is you have some ice damage. When a tree gets loaded down with ice, it makes the limbs and all bend down a little bit, and that opens up tiny little cracks, and if some moisture and some dust gets in there, that can lead to internal damage. So it's very normal for old trees to be hollow in our climate. There's nothing you can do about it, and for what it's worth, a tree can be completely hollow and still perfectly healthy. It loses a little bit of what we arborists call structural integrity. It may not twist as well in a big wind, but I've actually stood inside a perfectly healthy tree with 6 other people that was hollow on the inside. As long as the trunk all the way around is pretty solid, I really wouldn't worry about anything you can do about it, no matter what caused it, whether it's old disease, lightning strike from 30, 40 years ago and it's healed over, who knows? But the only thing I'd worry about is as it gets older, some of the lower limbs tend to break. You've probably been dragging them to a burn pile or to the street for a long time. Not much you can do about that except just watch where you put your porch swing.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Is that it? I mean, did I overtalk this?
No, not at all. I just wanted to make sure there was nothing I could do. I've seen how to run a ground wire into a large oak tree for lightning, but I had no idea on disease if I should be looking for anything or not. But,
no. The lightning rod thing, that it has to go way up above the tree, and lightning can strike a tree just like it can strike people and then walk away from it. Trees can get struck by lightning all the time. It does. Sometimes it just runs down on the outside of the bark if it's wet, but there's no treatment. The only thing I would suggest is if you haven't fertilized a tree in the past 5 or 10 or 15 years, sometime next spring, if you'll just get a regular lawn fertilizer, and spread it under the outer spread of the branches and beyond, way out from the trunk where the feeder roots are. If you'll give it just a little fertilizer every 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 years, not too much, then this will help it make better leaves and more healing stuff. So a little fertilizer every 4 or 5 or 6 years is always good for a tree. And just regular lawn food will do under the outer spread of the branches.
Okay. I can do that. That's possible.
All righty, man. Well, good luck and watch the fallen limbs.
Time. And y'all keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you being part of the program.
Appreciate you, Jeff. Felder, we're going to take our first break of the hour. I know Lance from Madison is holding on the line. I want to ask Lance to continue to hold. We got to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more.
Okay, and when we get back after we talk with Lance, I've got a fella called last week about a type of muscadine vine and using this chemical sounding thing to make it produce better, and I didn't know about it. I couldn't put 2 and 2 together, but anyway, I've talked to a real expert the past week, and I'm an expert on it. We're going to share that. I'm going to fess up on learning stuff, because it's okay to be ignorant. Ignorant means you just don't know. Stupid means you're not willing to learn. And I'm just plain old garden variety ignorant. Well, I used to be on this. Anyway, we'll talk about that when we get back after talking with Lance. Me and Java and other folks at MPB, we'll be right back after this.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Support the programs you love and wear your Mississippi pride on your sleeve. Literally, with the new merch on the MPB shop. Check out our latest drop with apparel from your favorite TV and radio shows, both current and throwback, featuring fan favorites like Next Stop Mississippi, Southern Dish, Hampton Wired, and more. Every purchase you make supports MPB. Visit mpbonline.org and click the shop button at the top to show your support today.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing. We welcome all of you who are listening on your radio or your computer. We also welcome the folks who are on live stream, which is on YouTube, Gestalt Gardener on YouTube, or Mississippi Public Broadcasting. But before we get to any pictures, let's go up to Madison and talk with Lance, who's been hanging on a while. Good morning, Lance. What's up, man?
Good morning, Felder. Enjoy your show. I have two questions about my lawn. I've taken your advice all season long, and I'm mowing high, and I'm watering deeply once every 10 days or so. I think I have the best-looking lawn around. Only thing is crabgrass. I've mowed high, and that's eliminated most weeds except for the crabgrass.
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
That's what kind of grass do you have? Do you have predominantly?
It's emerald zoysia.
Okay, you're lucky on that. There's two kinds of general. We're gonna generally group grasses. Bermuda grass and zoysia are sort of alike. St. Augustine centipede are sort of alike. What will kill weeds in one can damage the other. So what you need to do is go to a garden center. And there, Madison, you've got several. Madison Garden Center, go down to Garden Works, either of those places, and they'll have a lawn herbicide that says specifically control grassy weeds. It'll have crabgrass and Dallas grass on the label, but make sure you get the one that says can be used safely on Bermuda. If it doesn't have zoysia on there, if you can use it on Bermuda, you can use it on zoysia. So you can spot treat this stuff, or you can treat the whole thing, but you need to use something that's specific for grasses and is safe to use on zoysia. And if you just do a couple of light applications, whole lot better than overdosing. Sort of like chemotherapy. If you'll just hit them light one time and come back a few days later, hit them a second time, that'll take the crabgrass out. If your grass, once your zoysia get thick enough, it should shade out some more of the seeds. But anyway, spot treat with a grass weed killer that's safe for zoysia or Bermuda, and that'll take care of it.
Okay, good. And my next question is, I really want to take your advice about fertilizing infrequently. I do want you to know that I had been fertilizing, I hate to admit this, 3 times a year. This year I said, okay, I'm only going to fertilize in the spring. I did not fertilize in the summer. But I'm reading so many things that say the fall fertilizing is the most important for your lawn. And if you don't fertilize any other time, fertilize in the fall. Do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, a couple of things. Keep in mind, I was trained in turf management at Mississippi State on southern grasses, but also I went to the Scott's Turf Institute up in Ohio. Most of the time when you're reading those kind of advertisements, they're talking about for the rest of the country. They have stuff like fescue and bluegrass and ryegrass. They grow best in cool weather, and it's good to fertilize them this time of year. But our warm season grasses down here in the south, if you fertilize them too late in the summer, that puts on a lot of green growth that may be too tender to take the sudden hard freezes we have. So it's perfectly fine to fertilize twice a year. The grass doesn't really need it, but if you'll put down something called a winterizer, and it doesn't matter what kind of grass, it has a fairly low nitrogen, fairly low first number, and more of the potash, which is the third number. That's the actual winterizer ingredient. So general cutoff for central Mississippi for feeding the grass the last time is around the 1st of September. So sometime in the next couple of weeks, if you put a real thin application of what they call a winterizer, that'll work perfectly fine. But I wouldn't put it off, and I wouldn't use it heavy. I'd still wait till after the grass has been mowed 2 or 3 times. You know, zoysia is one of the last ones to green up in the spring. Everybody else is already mowing. But once it's greened up, it's been mowed a time or two, if you fertilize then the second option would be really, really light in late August, and you'll be okay with that.
Okay, and as I mentioned, I had been fertilizing 3 times a year and stopped, so do you think it would be best if I just do not fertilize in the fall? I'm guessing that fertilizer builds up in the lawn or in the soil.
Keep in mind there's 2 official recommendations on fertilizer. One is by the universities. We know what grass needs. We know when it benefits it, and that's where my advice about after it's mowed in the spring and before the 1st of September. That's based on MSU, Texas A&M, University of Georgia, Southern grass researchers. The second thing you'll see a lot is all the advertisements, which are, guess what? They're paid for by the fertilizer industry. And that's a huge profit item for garden centers. Nothing wrong with it, but they try to sell more than your grass really needs. And then the third way is my approach, which is we know that if you fertilize every 2 or 3 years, your grass will be fine. Just ride around town, you'll see too much fertilizer worse than none enough, than not at all. So if you're going to fertilize twice, don't use any more than what they recommend. Because that's the maximum that the grass can use at a time. Follow the directions, even make the bags go further than they say they will. And this will help the grass be sturdy and healthy without pushing it to the max.
Okay, I'll take your advice. I appreciate it. Enjoy your show.
All righty. Good luck on it. Thanks for calling.
Thank you. You're welcome. Bye.
And Java, before we get to the next call, first of all, I don't know if you noticed that Susan cut my hair this past week. Can you tell?
That would be a no.
She did trim it up. She said I was looking raggedy. I'm thinking I can put on a tuxedo and I still look like this. But last week we got a call from somebody that reminded me that one of my philosophy throughout life, healthy intellectual and emotional life, the relationship that I have with me and the world and learning changes all the time. I modify it, I adjust it as I learn new stuff. I'm not static. I embrace learning new things all the time, especially when I've been proven wrong or ignorant. Anyway, last week, a fellow called about his muscadine vine. And let's put up a couple of pictures. Picture number 4 is a typical dark purple muscadine vine. It's a native grape. It's true grape. It grows in the southeast. It produces this time of year, late August, September, really flavorful. It usually has kind of a thick skin and all. But this is a typical muscadine. It's dark colored. We'll put picture number 5 up. This is a bronze muscadine. Bronze muscadines they both have clear juice, but bronze muscadines are kind of golden yellow, maybe a little pinkish color. And there's a lot of both. A lot of people call these bronze muscadines scuppernongs because the oldest cultivated bronze muscadine was named Scuppernong. Anyway, this one is named Carlos. Anyway, last week a fellow called about a new variety called Fry Seedless Fry. Fry is a bronze muscadine, and I've always heard when I learned at MSU there was a female vine. It only produced it if it had pollen from a nearby male. Well, I went online this past week and come to find out they've got a new modern fry. They've even have a black fry, but it's a self-fertile fry that produces better if there's another self-pollinating one nearby. But anyway, I just learned about that Fry Seedless. It is self-fertile, does better with a self-pollinating vine. But anyway, he wanted to know because he read if he has to spray it with this stuff called gibberellic acid. Now follow me on this. This is I love science, but I hate talking about it. But anyway, gibberellic acid is a natural hormone that's been developed, and they use it to help, horticulturists use it to help seeds germinate better. It regulates plant growth. It regulates flower and fruiting. And I went online and found out that fry seedless produces better if it's sprayed with this gibberellic acid. I just don't, I didn't know about that. I knew about gibberellic acid. Anyway, it's a little bit tricky for home gardeners. So I got in touch with a guy at Mississippi State, a guy named Dr. Eric Staffney. I've known Eric for a long time. He's the fruit crop professor at State. He said that spraying the gibberellic acid on fry muscadine can improve fruit size and fruit set if you spray it when the flowers are beginning to show, before the flowers open. So you got to spray in the late winter, just when they're right after they leaf out. You have to spray before flower, proper timing is it, and you can get it. But anyway, he said, however, this is not really something a home owner hobbyist would normally do. Anyway, I learned about gibberellic acid. It will help that variety of muscadine produce better if you spray it before the flowers open in the spring. So didn't know any of that kind of stuff. Wish I didn't know it now, but if the guy who called last week is still paying attention, thank you for making me dig deep. Plus, I got a chance to chat with Eric Staffney. Appreciate that. So anyway, that's my Felder Fesses up.
I like that. We need a theme song for that, Felder Fesses.
There might be a challenge there. I've actually wondered if we could get people. A lot of folks don't realize that this theme song we play, the one that's played by Theremin, was done by a local fella in Jackson. He recorded our theme song on a theremin, which is really sometimes you hear this. It's sort of like a bluegrassy type of thing. That was recorded by a bluegrass type band up in Oxford. I'm always curious if any listeners out there are interested in coming up with our theme song on alternate instruments, a tuba version or a xylophone version. Anyway, enough of that. Do we have anybody to call to talk to on the phone?
Yeah, I'm just laughing at alternate instruments. What qualifies as an alternate instrument? But let's go to...
there's vegetable bands that play things on hollowed out vegetables. Anyway, it'd be interesting. There's a fella who listens to us out of... I forget his name right now. He's from Germany. He lives in Mobile. I bet he could do one on his accordion.
I guess that is an alternate instrument. Let's go back to the phones. Let's talk to Weston, who is calling from Illinois.
Morning, Weston. What part of Illinois are you calling from?
I'm calling from the central part of a little town called Washington, Illinois.
Okay, because I've lectured all the way up as far as north of Springfield, but that's Springfield. You must be fairly close to Springfield.
Yeah, closer to Springfield, kind of halfway between Springfield and Chicago.
You out in the cornfields, aren't you?
Exactly. Corn as far as we can see, and it is beautiful this time of year, seeing all of it.
Let me ask you, have you ever heard corn growing?
I haven't. I listened to it a couple, one of your older programs when you guys were talking about it, but, I can't say that I've ever been, just kind of out in the cornfield where it's been, nice and quiet. Usually,
I know it sounds kinky, but that's what we're all about. Unusual. That's part of gardening it's like when you scrub your fingernails so hard that your fingertips tingle. That and listening to corn, that's part of gardening too. Anyway, what you got? What's going on in Illinois?
Well, I was calling because I got some goldenrod growing in my backyard, and it's not the prettiest kind of type. And I want to learn a little bit more about goldenrod, about how I might implement some of your so-called guerrilla gardening in order to get some prettier goldenrod growing in my yard and in my neighborhood. So I don't know the exact type that I got going on.
Go ahead.
Oh, it's kind of it doesn't really turn a real golden color. It kind of gets a greenish yellow, but never that bright kind of golden orange.
You broke up a little bit, Felder. So repeat what you said, man.
Yeah. Does it normally golden color out in the wild, like along roadsides and all? and just not in your yard?
So that's kind of what so that's, I mean, as I'm driving down the highway, I mean, I feel bad. I feel like I might ever cause the wreck or something, but slowing down in order to see, because I spot it on the side of the road and in people's yards, and, I'm thinking, like, it'd be easy enough just to hop out, especially now that that's flowering and it'll be seeding here real soon. I want to get an idea about, I mean, what I need to grab in order to cultivate it in my yard, how to make it kind of, I mean, I know I don't need to make it too happy. The thing grows and it's addictive.
That's sort of what I was getting at. There's a couple of approaches. First of all, it does well with little or no care. It is a native plant. It likes our climate. Even with climate changing, it grows in fairly poor conditions. Where you see it is along fence rows, no water, no fertilizer. So if you have it in really good dirt, you fertilize it, you water it, it's not going to be as tough. So lean and mean is the approach. Couple of things. If you'll ride around, there's a lot of different kind of goldenrods. There's some you can buy. There's one that's called Fireworks. It has little sprays, look like fireworks. There's compact ones that only get 2 feet tall. There's all sorts. There's some are fragrant leaves. A lot of different kinds of goldenrods. But the field goldenrod, the one you see the most of in Illinois and Mississippi, there's a lot of variations between them. You'll have 4 or 5 100 feet of them just going along a railroad track, and some are going to look better than others just because of seedling diversity. So if you're trying to find some, spend some time this fall, drive around, and when you see one that you really, really like, don't save the seeds, go up, cut it to the ground 3 or 4 inches tall, and then dig up that clump of roots, which is a few stems, and put that in your yard. Nobody's going to fault you for digging goldenrod up, but find one that looks really good, cut it to a few inches tall, dig the roots up, and put it in your yard, and it will always be that way as long as you kind of treat it lean and mean. So another thing that helps a lot too is I prune mine. The tall kinds that I grow, the tall field goldenrod, I guess way too tall, it falls over. So what I do is late summer, even right now, you can cut some of those stems back, some cut halfway, some 2/3 of the way, and they will branch out sturdier with more stems, more compact plant with more flowers. So you can prune them back a little bit anytime in the summer up until about now.
All right. And do those I'm trying to remember the word for them, the little growths that come from those midges that bite and lay seeds into it. Do those ever flower? The little knolls or whatever they call them.
The what's? I didn't follow that.
Oh, like the little off growth that you get with goldenrod, where the little bugs lay their eggs and then you get a little growth off of it. Do those ever flower?
I don't know. There's several insects that could cause galls and all sorts of stuff. I just don't know. So let's stick with the easy stuff for right now. I don't mind not knowing something, but let's find something that you really like when they're in bloom and snag some of that. Then cut it back and snag some then, and just keep it lean and mean. Maybe cut it back some of the stems at different heights in the middle of late summer.
All right. I'm going to have to start driving around with a shovel in my trunk.
Yeah, well, not even a shovel. If you have a shovel, they'll know what you're doing. Just a hand trowel. And then if you cut it down before you dig it, it's easier to dig it. Nobody knows what you've done. You just go back and just wave at them when they drive by. And by the way, if you get a chance, go down. It's not too far from you, either up to the Chicago Botanic Garden or the St. Louis Botanic Garden. They've got incredible stands of really good native wildflowers used in regular garden plants. And a lot of times they have these different varieties for sale too.
All right. Yeah, it sounds like you're speaking from experience using a smaller shovel, less conspicuous.
Man, you got to be sly. Even if you're taking weeds, some people wag their fingers at you. You just gotta be sly. Keep a plastic bag and some. And I'm not advocating people dig up every wildflower they see, but goldenrod, come on, nobody cares.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Felder.
I appreciate you calling. Whenever your turn comes, I hope you stay warm this winter.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. See you later. Java, we've been dragging this out, haven't we?
Yeah, and we got a full bank of calls, Felder. So it's Felder's choice. You want to do the calls, or you want to go to a cheesy
you're the
tune?
Boss. I got a cheesy tune to play, but we're here to talk with folks about their gardens. So what's up?
Let's go to Elton in Macomb.
Good morning, Elton. What's up in Pike County?
Well, I've tried to grow some rosemary like 4 times. I haven't looked it up really, but I've had good plants to put into good soil. Should I clip it when I put it in, or should I put some, fertilizer in, or what?
Well, first of all, rosemary does grow fine in Mississippi. It grows fine. It can take the winter. It can take all sorts of stuff. What it can't take is staying wet and then really, really dry, and then watering it when it's hot and humid. So the most important thing about rosemary, it's got to have good, well-drained soil, and you got to water it if it stays dry. Where it grows naturally, it literally hangs off of cliffs around the Mediterranean. It doesn't need a lot of water, but it gets so hot in Mississippi that it needs to be watered at least every, I'm going to say 3 or 4 weeks, every couple of 3 weeks at the most. But it's got to have good drainage so it doesn't get root rot when we have a lot of heavy rains. So the most important thing is sunshine at least half a day, really well drained soil, and then be prepared to water at least every 2 or 3 weeks or so if you go without rainfall. Other than that, it's pretty easy to grow. It grows really well in a raised bed or container, but if you got flat dirt, some of Macomb is flat, Macomb's kind of hilly. As long as you got drainage, you can grow it.
Well, I've only seen about 2 or 3 that grow in the ground.
Well, my grandmother, by the way, I spent my childhood, right off on Oak Street, right off the main drag coming off the interstate, back before there was the interstate.
Yeah.
And even though it's in the hills, her yard was flat, and so water stands around that. So if you work up your dirt and then add just a little bit of stuff to it, so it's sort of like a mound, maybe just 3 or 4 inches high in the middle, and plant it raised up on a little low, wide mound, enough to allow for settling. As long as it's kind of on a, 3 or 4 inches higher than the ground around it, then it'll get the drainage it needs in the wintertime. And then it's just a matter of not overwatering in the summer. I've killed more rosemary with water than you can imagine.
Well, I'm good, really, with aloe vera. And it can be outside as long as it has drainage. And I've got probably 7, the French fries small and the big thick, leaf. I can grow that. I just can't figure out why I keep, the 4th time I said, well, I got to call.
Almost always when rosemary has a problem, it's not by a freeze, because it'll take freeze. It's almost always getting root damage during the heavy, wet winters and springs, and then not having the roots it needs in the summertime. And it starts looking peaking, and we overwater it, which aggravates the problems. The main thing is good drainage for winter rains and water just occasionally, in the summertime. As long as it's got those things, it should do okay.
I'm dyslexic, so I don't read a whole lot. So it's easier to ask you questions. But I saw my brother bought a piece of property that had a wild magnolia on it. We didn't know what it was. We knew it was a magnolia because of the flower, but it was not the dark green leaf. And I said, I thought Mississippi is the magnolia state.
Yeah.
Why did I never seen this wild magnolia with this maple leaf looking?
Was the leaf divided like a maple, or was it just small maples?
Yeah, it was light colored. Huge leaves, not like the dark.
Well, we actually have several different species of magnolias. The one everybody's familiar with is southern magnolia, grandiflora is what it's called. We have big leaf magnolia. The leaves are like 2.5 or 3 feet long. We have one that's all over. There's one called Sweet Bay magnolia that is all over South Mississippi. The leaves aren't nearly as big, and the flowers are a lot smaller. But so we have several species of magnolias out there besides that big evergreen one. These other ones drop their leaves in the winter.
Okay, evergreen, right. I also wanted to mention I love the theme music. I can probably make anything with any instrument, even on a bicycle.
Shoot me shoot me an email, and I'll send you our 30-second and our 60-second clip of it so you can get an idea of how long to make it, and we would have fun with this. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Look, I've got one more comment. I don't understand why people don't believe what you say, because you've got so much knowledge and experience, and they ask you, are you serious, or do you know what you're talking about? That blows my mind. Okay, thank you. I appreciate your time.
I appreciate it. You know, Java, I know a lot about horticulture and gardening, not everything, and some stuff I wish I didn't know. And by the way, I just want to let you know, it says my internet connection is unstable. But you see me okay?
You coming through loud and clear.
Oh, okay. But anyway, no, there's a lot of stuff I don't know. There's a lot of stuff I wish I didn't know, but I can't balance a checkbook, okay? But I can talk about tomatoes. Who else we got? Oh, you want to do a tune or what?
Well, let's go to Tommy in Gloucester, and I can see something about fertilizing.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, Gloucester, I've been to Gloucester. It got a really nice arboretum out there with a lot of different native magnolias in it. So what's up, Tommy?
Oh, I live out in the country about 10 miles. I'm a would-be farmer. I love your show and what you do. And
appreciate it.
But I've got a lingering question about fertilizing. In the middle of April, I planted my garden as usual, fix the ground up, have a small tractor and put down the fertilizer according to specs on the soil sample, and made a bunch of butter beans and okra, and it plays out. And I was wondering if you should fertilize it after you plant it. I know you're supposed to put ammonia on it 6 weeks after you plant it.
Yeah, well, ammonia is just one type of nitrogen. There's a whole bunch of different kind of nitrogen. Ammonium nitrate is just one. But in general, most people who use something like triple 13 or triple 8 only need to use it every 2 or 3 years. Farmers don't use it every year. The phosphorus and potash, that second, third number, they last 2 or 3 years easy. So you could use that actually every other year and just use the nitrogen when you plant. And again, after the plants start to grow, it's called side dressing. But every time you plant, the nitrogen doesn't last long. It washes away after a few weeks or a couple of months. So if you'll just skip to every other year using all-purpose fertilizer and just nitrogen when you plant and then nitrogen when you side dress, just a little bit at a time. It's like salt on your egg. You don't need to overdo it. So because nitrogen doesn't last long, you need to add a little bit more from time to time. If you'll switch over, if you go to the co-op, they have this stuff called urea, U-R-E-A. Urea is a nitrogen, but it's slow-acting, long-lasting. So urea is probably a little bit better than the ammonium nitrate, which is we just use it because it's cheap. But urea is a little bit better nitrogen because it lasts longer.
So how often would you put it on your beans and okra during the summer?
Yeah, well, beans and sweet potatoes, being, legumes, they don't need that second feeding. So beans, no. Sweet potatoes, no. Yeah. But on okra, tomatoes, peppers, a couple of months after you planted them, get them enough to get them up and going, and then hit them a second time, 2 or 3 months later. That should be plenty. But I would not add extra nitrogen to the beans because they make their own.
Are butter beans legumes?
Yep, they sure are.
So they don't need nitrogen. I had no idea.
Well, a little bit to get them started, but once they get going, they don't need any extra.
And don't worry about the P and the K either after you fix it in the spring.
That stuff lasts at least 2 or 3 years. So if you just use it every other year, this way farmers do it. They don't use that stuff every year. It builds up and can actually cause problems.
Okay. All right.
All righty, man.
Thank you.
We need to get out. If you're going out, going back out, put a hat on.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okie doke. Woo. We're on a roll, Java.
We really are. We kind of stomped a mud hole in that hour, and we didn't even get to our cheesy tune, which I don't know. We may can pack pack them into the second hour because I see we want to pay tribute to some people with these tunes.
Yeah, I got a real special Dolly Parton tune I want to play, a real special one, but not the one you keep here on the radio. But I got one from a guy named Timothy, and we'll talk about that later. But we got some callers or what?
No, not right now, but I do want to go to YouTube and say good morning especially to our usual suspects. Alan, he's tuning in from Virginia. We got Dean from Alexandria, Louisiana. We got Breeze checking in with a question too. Good morning, Felder. Everyone should have some Felder in their life. Can you recommend a fast-growing shade tree that's not over, oh man, you're kind of specific, Breeze, that's not over 35 feet tall?
Oh, yeah, Vitex, Vitex.
And there you go, Vitex, Breeze.
It's fast, and really, really fast. It's a good shade. You can limit up, we can sit up under it, and it has really good summer flowers for the bees and hummingbirds and all.
Okay. And another question, this is from Becky. I guess you heard the muscadine talk. When should I cut my muscadine vines back?
Oh, wintertime. Let's wait till wintertime. If you wait too late in the winter, they drip a lot of sap. It doesn't hurt them, but let's wait till they go stone cold dormant. December, January, February, that's when you prune them back. And whatever you cut back, follow from the tip of the stem back to where it started growing back in the spring, and leave 3 or 4 inches of that. Leave 2 or 3 leaf joints of the previous year's growth, and then what sprouts out of that will be more compact, have better berries. I knew that one. I pruned muscadines for years.
Oh, and let's see, Margie from Harperville, she's checking in, and she even put a comment saying, what was the name of that acid that you were talking about earlier?
It starts with a GIBB, gibberellic.
Yeah, gibberellic.
Yeah, gibberellic acid.
And
you can get it at gardens, and horticulturists use it all the time, but it's not necessary for most home gardening stuff. Really not.
Well, what she said is several of my older neighbors that grew camellias would put the acid on the buds for larger blooms.
They put it on the buds for larger blooms. They said they jibbed them. we jibbed our camellias, but they do. But it has to be done before the flowers start to form.
Okay, I wonder how they. I mean, I'm really just guessing. How did they find that out? Like to put that on there?
You know, horticulture scientists, plant physicists, they do weird stuff all the time. But we've known about gibberellic acid for at least I studied it when I was in college, and that's a long time ago. But it's just a natural growth. What they did was they found out what makes some plants root better than others, and can we come up with rooting hormones and things, and they found out the compounds that do that. Sort of. Anyway, it's just one of those oddball things. Man, I wish we could play this Dolly tune.
Yeah, I mean, we can get to it. Let's go ahead and we're going to end the hour, just so I can also let the people know in the back. We're going to end the hour with this Dolly Parton tune.
It's only a minute long. I cut it down to a minute, and such a good one. And by the way, Java, there's a native lichen. Lichens are those scaly, weird-looking things that grow on trees and rocks and stuff. There's a lichen that they discovered in Appalachia that's actually named after Dolly Parton. They call it Dolly's dots. The Latin name is Japwelia dollypartoniana.
What?
No, I'm not making this up. I have a picture of it, but it's not worth showing. But yeah, there's even a lichen named Japwelia dollypartoniana.
Man, Dolly Parton, she was just phenomenal. They got a flower named after her in the Latin.
Yeah, well, it ain't that pretty a flower, but anyway, but it's still quite an honor for scientists to do that sort of thing. So let me know when we're going to get into this, because I think it's just a really sweet tune by not just a talented singer and songwriter, but a wonderful, wonderful person.
Yeah. Now, I mean, since we down memory lane, give me like your first, I guess, encounter with Dolly Parton, or just like, how she came into your world.
Well, all my being from the South, we've always listened to country music, and then she switched over and started doing pop stuff, 9 to 5 and, all that. So she was a crossover, but it seemed like every time I turn around, there's a Dolly tune.
Yeah. So she's
And
kind
by the way, before we do that, let me show you this. Can you see this?
of sprouts in dirt.
Yeah. Reason I'm showing those because that's some lettuce seed I planted last Friday. It's supposed to take a week or two to sprout. I got little plants up already of lettuces, mixed lettuces. I'm growing me some salad in a pot.
All right, Felder, I think we timed this thing out. Let's go ahead and we're going to end off with the Dolly Parton tune. So go ahead and set it up, man.
Called Wildflowers Don't Care Where They Grow. We'll be back with more of the Gestalt Gardener Hour 2 after this.
At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
Okie folks, welcome back. Welcome to hour 2 of the Gestalt Gardener here on Mississippi Public Broadcasting. My awesome producer, Java Chapman, live stream producers, Abram Nanny and John C. We appreciate all y'all joining us either live on live stream or tune in anytime, 24/7, even weeks later if you want to hear this. We got plenty of stuff to talk about, Java. A lot of phone calls last week, last hour. And we got any phone calls yet this one?
No phone calls being lined up now. Marissa says, give her a phone call, 1-877-672 7464. That's 1-877-MPB ring. But we do have the YouTube chat. So for anybody who's checking us out on YouTube, or if you don't want to, call somebody, you can drop a question in the YouTube chat like this. Let me see. What is his screen name? CW Barnett has a question. Let's say, I planted pond cypress to replace a 25-year-old river birch. It's knee-high, and I planted it 2 months ago. The foliage is brown despite having shade. There is new growth, so why is it turning brown?
Well, that is a really good question, Java, and and I hope that it's listening. But let me preface this by saying it happens in my yard too. Matter of fact, if we can put up, I've got 4 pictures that I want to show. Starting at picture number 15. John C., if you're awake back there, put up picture number 15 if you would, just to give you an idea. This is a plant that's been browned out, taken this time of year. And we're going to do 3 more in a row. Picture number 16 is in my yard. This is a little gem magnolia. Magnolia is a native tree. Mine completely browned out. And then picture number 17, I have a row of Yopon hollies that are native that I pruned into lollipops. One is green, one is brown. And then the last picture, number 18, this is a Nandina, which you cannot kill. They grow in cemeteries. Mine browned out, okay? So all that to say, I'm familiar with plants browning out. Now, here's the deal, Java. Pond cypress is very similar to our native ball. Well, pond cypress is native also. It's very similar to ball cypress. From a distance, they look sort of alike unless you're really savvy about this. But up close, the pond cypress leaves sort of droop down a little bit. They hang down, not quite as upright as the ball cypress. Both of them are needle leaf conifers. And when the leaves are first formed, they're tender. In the springtime or whenever, they're real tender because growing is good in the spring. But when you put a new plant out or a plant that's stayed wet part of the year and suddenly it turns hot and dry, those leaves that came out in the spring aren't able to adapt. They can't just change. They can't sweat and just shake it off. They're going to turn brown, show fall colors, and shed naturally. That's what happens with cypress trees. They turn sort of a rusty. It's not really a brown. It's not a mocha. It's not, there's all these different shades of brown. Burnt orange, raw umber, all those kind of colors. They turn brown naturally. And if they're under stress, the older leaves, the ones that came out in the spring, will do that early. Some of my ball cypress in Jackson are doing that on the leaves that came out this past spring. As long as it's got new leaves on the ends of the branches, putting out new leaves, the plant's okay. Now, here's the deal. A lot of people tend to water a plant when it's brown. A lot of times it's brown because it already has root damage. So if you want to give it a good deep soaking, don't keep it wet. Good deep soaking every week or 2, and the plant should do fine. Too much water can be as bad as not enough. So I'm just suspecting it's stress because it's a new plant, or stress if it's an old plant, the past spring's new growth just can't adapt. It's just shedding early. We're seeing entire cypress trees just looking like they've got fall color just because we had a really wet spring and those leaves formed under really good conditions. All of a sudden, the trees are struggling and it can't keep those old leaves on. So nothing to worry about. Just give it a good deep soaking and try not to overwater. And by the way, pond cypress does best if it gets at least half a day of sun. It's a full sun plant. So if it's in a lot of shade, you might want to think this fall about moving it to a place where it gets a little bit more sun. Anyway, browning out is real common. Here's the problem, Java. We're seeing a lot of plants browning out, like Japanese hollies and boxwoods. They're browning out, and they're not gonna be fine. A lot of plants brown out in the summertime because they got root damage and they got too much growth that they can handle, and the whole plant will die instead of just old leaves shed. So here's my rule of thumb. If the leaves turn brown and they shed off easily, you can rub them off or they fall off. It's just stress. If they turn brown and they stick on the plant, that part of the plant is dead. Not much we can do about it. It happens all the time, even in my yard, as those past 4 pictures show.
Well, hopefully that helps. What's it, C.W. Barnett on YouTube?
Yeah, well, I tell you, it doesn't help them. It just hopes it helps them understand and just accept it. Cypress trees dropping their needles early in August, September, just stress. It's not a big deal. Other plants like boxwoods, we got a problem.
Okay. All right. Well, we do have some phone calls to get to, and let's ride all the way up to Memphis and talk with, is this Ravia?
Ravia, yes.
All right.
Yeah,
good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, what's up?
Good morning. Well, nothing. We're just getting over this storm, and I think we're doing good. We had some tough days, but we're doing good, yes. So my question for you is about roses. So I'm a amateur gardener. My mother-in-law planted some rose plants and bushes about 20 years ago, and they've been doing good. But this last couple of years, they have started becoming very spiky. Some of them have gotten woody. The leaves are curling. So I pulled out at many of them. I bought some new roses, and I planted them in planters, and put them in the yard. And now I'm finding that those plants are also getting very spiky, kind of thick, and leaves are curling. So does that mean that it's something in the air? I thought it might have been something in the ground that had caused the other plants, so I pulled them out. Didn't want to use the same place to plant these, but I'm still getting this. So are these salvageable?
Without seeing them myself, I really can't say for sure, but let me throw out a couple of things. First of all, if they're in containers, are they in pretty big containers?
Yes.
Okay. As long as you give them a little fertilizer, I want to emphasize not even as strong as directions call for, but if you'll fertilize container-grown plants a couple of times a year in the spring and midsummer, because the fertilizer washes out of potting soil. But so don't put a lot at one time, but a little spoon feed them, and make sure that they stay moist but not wet. When you water, I always water my containers twice. It really soaks it in, and then let the top few inches dry out completely before I water again, or else the lower roots will rot. Water stacks up, so if it may be dry on the top, it's still wet at the bottom. So try not to water them too much or too often. Those are the main things there. You can also prune roses. Wherever you make a cut, they put out new growth there, and this is a way to keep them thick and bushy and full with new flowering growth. So pruning, even in the summertime, light pruning, a little bit of fertilizer, and occasional deep soaking. Those are the basics. Now, there is a disease going around that's called rose rosette. Can't get into more detail about that. If you'll go online and just do a search for rose rosette, it'll show lots of pictures of it, and it's pretty distinctive. And if that's what you're seeing, rose rosette is fairly common. It even comes in sometimes from the growers. But rose rosette is a serious, incurable virus, real common with roses. And if one gets it, you cannot cure it. You got to get rid of it. And if you prune that shrub, you need to dip your pruners in either alcohol or Clorox or something like that between, so you don't transfer it on the clipper blades. But rose rosette is really, really serious. Go online and look at it. It can be pretty alarming looking, and yours may just be bad weather. But rose rosette is really, really gnarly. It's really distinctive. And if yours don't look like that, let's look at a little bit of pruning, a little bit of fertilizing, not so much watering.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Thank you so much.
Okay, good luck on. And by the way, if you have more trouble with it, if you take some of the branches to the Botanic Garden there in Memphis, or call the Shelby County Extension Office, they got people who can help with that and specific ID. But let's start with those simple tricks.
Thank you. That's a really good plan. Thank you for your suggestions.
All righty. Well, Java, did she cut out or did I cut out?
No. That was y'all came to a mutual ending.
She said, "Okay, bye."
Yeah,
I'm done.
But let's stay on the phones and go from Memphis Tennessee to somewhere in Louisiana. And let's talk with Dennis.
Dennis, what part of Louisiana are you from?
I'm from Clinton, Louisiana.
Did you hear, Felder? Clinton.
No. I didn't. You froze for just a second. Where are they from?
Clinton, Louisiana.
Oh yeah, I know right where that is. What's up? What's going on?
I want to try to raise some late tomatoes. I didn't do good with my spring tomatoes.
Yeah.
Dennis, I'm going to ask you to turn your radio down. It's creating a little echo. Felder, did you hear about his, he wanted to...
I understand you want to plant some late tomatoes, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's really, we're just a little bit past the recommended time, but you could still probably pull it off if you could find some. Have you already got some of the plants, or you know where you can get some?
No, what it is, I planted some seeds a few days ago, and I guess they're about maybe a half an inch tall.
I don't know what. I think we're having some internet trouble here.
Okay, because he said he planted some a little while ago, and they were about a half an inch tall now. Felder, we're gonna take a quick break. Dennis, hold on. We can get to your question after this quick break. We'll try to resolve these issues.
All right, thank you.
This is the Gestalt Gardener. We'll have more with Felder after the break. Stick around. 1-877-MPB Ring is the phone number that you need to call. We got John from the Gulf Coast on. We got Jay from Farmerville. And we're going to get back with Dennis and talk about his tomatoes after we get Felder back on the line.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
Mississippi is a place of deep roots where every story matters and every voice can be heard. At MPB, we stand with our local communities, bringing you the voices of those who shape our state through local programming that reflects our culture across small towns to big cities, from the Delta to the coast. We tell the stories that define us, from the music that carries our voices to the leaders who inspire change. MPB brings you the heart of Mississippi, celebrating Mississippi one story at a time. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Together through the years, together in the future. MPB, your stories, our mission.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
So we're back with the more of the Gestalt Gardener. As always, you sometimes have to pivot. And Felder, we got you on the phone, man.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me all right?
I think we can hear you now.
Okay. We were talking with Dennis about planting some fall tomatoes, and I didn't hear whether he already has some or not. Dennis, you already have some plants?
No, I planted some seeds a few days ago, and they're about maybe a half an inch tall.
Yeah. It's gonna be a little bit of a stretch because usually, even in Louisiana, we need to plant by the first or the middle of August. We're past the recommended late planting date, but if you're prepared to cover those things up, then once you get one or two sets of real leaves, not those little seed leaves, but when they have real tomato-looking leaves, you can put them out, mulch them to keep the ground cool and moist. And then you might have a good shot because you're far enough south.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I appreciate the information, and I enjoyed the show.
I appreciate it. Well, good luck on it. And by the way, give them a little bit of fertilizer. Try not to push them too much. A little bit of fertilizer, a good deep soaking without keeping it wet, and some mulch to keep the roots in the ground cool. I think you have a pretty decent shot.
All right. Well, thank you.
Okay. Good luck on it. So there, Java.
All right. Well, let's stay on the phones because we got a nice cheesy tune to queue up, but we got a couple phone calls before that. Let's go to the Gulf Coast and talk with John.
Morning, John. What's going on?
Hello. How you doing?
So far, so good. I have a little internet trouble, but you can hear me and I can hear you, so life is good.
Perfect. So I've got a section of ground that they did some work on and scraped it up basically to clay. And I asked the extension agent about a ground cover to put on at this time of year because ryegrass really won't do it. So he recommended millet. And then somebody else told me that that was probably a bad idea.
And this is for your lawn area?
No, it's by a road.
Oh, by a road. Yeah, millet might not be, I would go with fescue. If you could get fescue, that would do fine. It's a little bit early for ryegrass. Ryegrass might burn out if you put it this early, but fescue, if you get some fescue seed, it should come right on up. And it can actually do okay through the wintertime.
What about some kind of native? Is there anything like native grasses or wild flowers?
There are, but you're not going to find any this time of year, any seed for it. So what I do, I would just buy some time, fescue or ryegrass, maybe even some clover. But no, the wildflowers, they're not going to give much control. They grow over the wintertime and do their thing in the spring. So, your best bet from now till next spring would be white clover, or just plain old white clover, or fescue, or maybe some ryegrass. Those are going to be your best bets to give you some kind of cover.
So will the millet become invasive?
I don't know. I've never messed with. I think a millet is like a cover, like an agriculture thing. I don't know how it grows. It's just to me it's more of like a pasture type plant. So I don't know.
So what time of year would if I wanted to put in wildflower seeds, that would be like January, February?
Oh, no. You can put the wildflower seeds out anytime next month or October, and they'll actually sprout, and they grow through the wintertime and are actually tougher and bloom better next spring. A lot of wildflowers, the spring-type wildflowers we see, they're growing sort of like, clover comes up in the fall, and it blooms in the spring, and it dies down. That's the way a lot of wildflowers are.
Okay, so I can plant it by October or something like that. Oh,
yeah, September, October. And if you want to put out some crimson clover in just little patches here and there, sow the wildflower, instead of sowing the wildflowers, evenly all over the place, put them in swaths and patches with some crimson clover in some other areas, sort of mix it all up. That way you'll have something.
Yep, girl. yeah, you phased out, but I think I got the answer to my question anyway. Thanks.
Okay, appreciate it. Good luck on it.
All right.
Yeah, thanks for that call, John.
I don't know why I'm still not having the internet. I'm looking over there, and I've got blue lights on everything, so I just don't know what the problem is here.
Yeah, this modern technology, it works until it doesn't work.
That's right. Hey, that's the way it was with my shoulders.
Let's stay on the phones. We got Jay from Farmerville on the line.
Good morning, Jay. What's going on? Howdy.
Yeah, good morning, Judge Jay again. I have a quick comment, and then I have a question for you after that.
All righty.
I had some wood chips put down in the area to kind of tamp down all the weeds, but I had one aggressive weed come up, and so I identified it, and it was green amaranth. And I thought, oh, my goodness. Felder said that's nutritious. And I researched it, and it's amazing how nutritious it is. So maybe I need to save the seed in case times get hard.
That and you can always plant collards in the winter and okra in the summertime, and sweet potatoes. No, amaranth is one of the few leafy greens that'll take the hot weather, and the seeds are nutritious. You can eat the leaves or the seeds.
It's the whole thing. And then my question is: it's still not too late in North Louisiana to plant kale, lettuce, and radishes? I hope from seed.
No, it's just now getting the time to do that. The kale will take 0 degrees. And by the way, if you haven't planted this before, look for a type of kale that's called lacinato or dinosaur or Tuscan blue. It's the prettiest plant. It takes the most incredible cold, and it's sweeter than other kales, a lot sweeter than collards. But we're just now getting into the season for planting those kind of things.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay. We appreciate it. Thank you. And Java says I'm back on the line for what that means.
Okay, well we'll slide into this cheesy tune break and try to get you back on the Zoom. But I do want to say thank you for Judge Jay for calling in, and now he's almost we got one more call, Judge Jay, and you become a regular. You Judge Jay, Chainsaw K, and the whole rest of them.
Yeah. Can I set this next cheesy tune up?
Please.
Okay, this is in honor of a fellow named Timothy James Curry. There's so many things he was known for. He was an original cast member in the London stage production of Hair back in the 70s. Emmy Award-winning voiceovers, TV, movies. He was Long John Silver in The Muppet Treasure Island, even the evil clown Pennywise, so much more. But he'll always be remembered as a cross-dressing Dr. Frankenfurter on the Rocky Horror Picture Show. This is a little short clip to bring back memories of those who, well, if you know, you know. Me and Java, we'll be back with more of the Gestalt Gardener right after the little clip I think some of you will be familiar with. Felder Rushing, Mississippi Public Broadcasting. We're going to get back on the air right after this.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
Mississippi is a place of deep roots where every story matters and every voice can be heard. At MPB, we stand with our local communities, bringing you the voices of those who shape our state through local programming that reflects our culture across small towns to big cities, from the Delta to the coast. We tell the stories that define us, from the music that carries our voices to the leaders who inspire change. MPB brings you the heart of Mississippi, celebrating Mississippi one story at a time. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Together through the years, together in the future. MPB, your stories, our mission.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
You're listening to the Gestalt Gardener, and we tried. Felder, didn't we try, man?
Well, I'm still trying, but we're on the phone, so everything is okay. So we're going to be just talking gardening. Whether you see my pictures or see me or not, we're still just going to have a good time. We got any callers who want to chat about gardening?
No callers right now, but I do have a question that just. Hold on, let me see. All right, Felder, I think we got you back, man.
Okay.
There we go.
Can you see my fingers crossed here?
We're gonna keep trying. We're not gonna touch any cords. We're not gonna mash any buttons.
I got my hands right here.
Okay. All right. We're gonna keep it in the middle of the road.
So where were we?
I was about to say
Tim Curry.
Well, yeah, of course, Tim Curry, man. That's my Crystal. When the news broke the other day, me and Crystal stayed on the phone for about 30, 45 minutes because Tim Curry is one of her favorite actors of all time. And I mean, we've seen Rocky Horror Picture Show and been to the the live shows and all kind of stuff. So yesterday,
and he popped up in weird places. Like, did you ever see the Home Alone movies?
Yeah,
he was a concierge in one of the hotels.
Oh, of course, man. It's been all over social media. Like, the watching Home Alone this Christmas is not going to be the same.
No, well, everybody thinks of him with Rocky Horror Picture Show, but he was an Emmy award-winning voice, so he did all sorts of stuff. Anyway, between him and Dolly, it wasn't a great week for 80-year-olds.
Yeah, and not for anything that weekend before we lost the singer Lattimore. He wasn't 80, I think he was 78. But he spent some time on Malaco Records here in Jackson, and he was, most famously known for his late 70s hit, Let's Straighten It Out. Let's straighten it out.
Yeah. Well, to quote Dolly Parton, the late, great Dolly Parton, if you want to have a rainbow, you have to put up with a little rain.
There you go. That's right.
Anyway, we don't have any callers yet, but let me see while we have an internet connection. Let me put up a couple of pictures. I think the people, if they could put up picture number 7, I actually found a picture of this. It's a type of lichen. It's sort of a plant, not really a plant. It looks like dried up cranberries. But that's a lichen that's native to southern Appalachian mountains called Japoelia dollypartoniana. Dolly's dots.
They could have found a better thing to name after Dolly Parton.
People who name stuff like this, where their head at to begin with? But let me show something I did this past week. We put up picture number 10. Susan and I were coming back. We were walking back from someplace, and she is a dumpster diver, just like me. I'm a looking dumpster, see what I can find to drag home to my yard. But we found an old pot that was in perfectly good shape. It just, it wasn't cracked. It was just all flaky. It's a big pot, and so we dragged it home. And then picture number 11. I wanted to cover the hole up at the bottom to keep the potting soil from falling out. Instead of putting gravel on it, and I didn't have any screen, what I did is picture number 11, is I got the top off of a pickle jar, and I punched some holes in it with a can opener, and I just used a pickle jar metal top with holes punched in it to put over the hole. And then picture number 12, and I filled it with some potting soil. And Java, I want to explain my potting soil. It's just, you can buy it by the bag, but I like to mix my own. I get regular potting soil, as good as I can find, and I add stuff to it. And picture number 13, I just got two more. Picture number 13 is what I prefer. Now, I know that a lot of people in Mississippi can't find this, but it looks like big, coarse, gray gravel. It's called grit. Grit is bigger than sand, it's smaller than gravel, it's kind of ground up stuff. And the closest I can compare it to, a lot of gardeners know about this white crunchy stuff called perlite. They get a little bag of perlite, which you can buy at any garden center, and mix it with other potting soils, and it gives it better drainage without being too wet. But perlite tends to, it packs down, it floats out of the dirt. I found a place that sells bags of horticultural grit. And I know garden centers can get it wherever you shop. They can get it through their normal suppliers, but grit is sort of like a big crunchy sand or like a ground up, broken up, chipped type of gravel. And I put it in there. And then picture number 14, I just wanted to brag a little bit. Picture number 14 is after we started planting, we grow a lot of cacti and succulents. Succulents don't need a bunch of care. They can go 3 months without rain. They can take the freeze. So I got a nice little pot full of succulents. And the trick is to have some potting soil that doesn't stay too wet and then doesn't dry out too fast. Regular potting soil does that. So either add some perlite to it, or if you could get horticultural grit, add it to regular potting soil. It will last for a long, long time. It won't stay wet when it rains, doesn't dry out too fast. I just want to throw that out. Oddball thing.
Well, no, it wasn't oddball.
Yeah. Oh, let me throw this out. Speaking of dumpster diver, I'm going to show one more picture, picture number 19. And folks, if you've never seen a flower pot made out of a tire, I've been doing this for decades. I've got them all over. And a lot of people say, oh, you can't use tires because they're not made for plants. Well, whiskey barrels weren't made for plants either. Anything that'll hold some potting soil, you can use a planter. Anyway, I found a stack of tires. And this time next week, I want to show you some flower pots that I'm going to make out of these tires, because it's called make and do, recycling, repurposing, recology, whatever you want to call it. But I think a flower pot made out of a tire is just downright elegant. Some people think it's trashy. Well, I've seen them in some of the fanciest gardens on earth where they were painted so you'd never know they're tires. Anyway, I'm gonna show that next week, what I end up doing with this tire.
Well, all I'm gonna say is just take your time. Take your time.
I'm going to. By the way, I happen to know that there used to be a tire in your backyard by the gate going just inside your backyard from your driveway. There used to be a tire back in there.
I think we threw it out. I'm trying to remember.
Oh man! If it's not, when I get back, we're gonna make us a flower pot out of it.
Yeah. But let's hop over to the YouTube chat, because there's a couple questions we didn't get to. Want to say good morning to the Shoe Art Garden in Ellisville, and they have a question saying, I'm planting broccoli for the first time. Any tips?
Yeah, that's good. And by the way, I appreciate his posts on the Mississippi Gardening Facebook. Folks, if you're not familiar with this Facebook, even if you don't like social media, it's the only social media I do is the Mississippi Gardening Facebook. It's clean, it's safe. We don't argue with anybody. We don't get mad. We don't judge people. But anyway, when it comes to broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, this time of year, keep in mind that these little plants, when you get them, if they ever stop growing, if they stay dry or it's too hot or anything like, for any reason they slow down or they stop growing, they'll pick back up, but they won't actually produce later. The key with them is get small plants, not the biggest one, old woody ones, but kind of small ones. Work up the dirt, plant them, mulch the ground to keep it cool, because these are cool climate plants. If you'll mulch the ground and then water them only when they need it, not every day, but a good soaking every couple of 3 or 4 days the first week. If you get small plants and keep them slowly actively growing, with a little soaking every now and then, a little bit of fertilizer, and keep them steadily growing, as soon as it gets cool weather, they will really, really jump. So the key right now is to not let them wilt in the heat, and mulch helps on that, and to not get big old plants and let them get woody. So small plants kept growing with a little pushing, and they'll do quite fine. They will. We got plenty of time. We haven't gotten around to do it. We have plenty of time to do this. But the main thing, don't get the biggest plants you find at the garden centers. Get some that's still tender. They got woody stems. Walk on by.
All right, and let's see. We have it's another question that always comes up. This is from Madison in the YouTube chat. How to get rid of fire ants right now?
Right now, I would just live with them. I mean, seriously, if they're not built up on something, they're not directly affecting you, believe it or not, we can garden around some fire ants. That's my first advice. Second thing is, if they're in a big area, you can use a bait. They pick up spread around, the worker take the bait back to the mound. They feed the queen who stops laying eggs. Baits take a little time to work, but they are effective. Otherwise, treat the individual mound. And here's the deal. You want to get all the ants at one time, and they're all in the nest at night. So if you wait till late in the day and either use a liquid insecticide that's made for fire ants or a granular, any kind of fire ant poison, if you put it just on or around the mound, that'll take care of them, and the poison will be gone by morning. My personal preference, you can use boiling water, but that's dangerous. It's dangerous. You can use gasoline, $4 a gallon, forget it. Just go ahead and get a little insecticide for ants, mix it up with plenty of water, and then really soak them out. Pour some in a circle around the mound, and like putting syrup on a pancake, sort of swirl it in until let the water cave the mound and let the water do all the work. Flood the mound. A lot of water, gallon or so, with a little insecticide will take out the entire mound. Doesn't take a lot of poison. You just got to get it to them. Late in the day, soak the mound. That's my best. There's all sorts of home remedies. They don't always work, and you want to get rid of them. Go ahead and bite the bullet, get a fire ant poison, and use a little bit of it in a lot of water at night. It works and it's safe.
Okay. One last question. We do have some phone calls getting lined up from the YouTube chat. Well, we got a couple of questions, but let's see. This is from Amanda, a regular. Good morning. I bought a tiny blueberry from LSU Arboretum about 18 months ago and have it in a pot. It's grown well, but when should I put it in the ground? Wait till late winter / early spring?
I would wait a little bit later. It's awful hot to be putting a plant out right now. This is a stupid way to answer it, but this is what I would do. I would not put it in the ground until after you've had a chance to really dig the dirt well. Blueberries are a long-term thing. If you don't dig a nice size hole, I'm talking about 2-3 feet across, and then add some real peat moss, Canadian peat moss. Forget all this, don't use peat moss stuff. That's a European thing. We got plenty of peat moss here, North America. If you use Canadian peat moss, 2 or 3 shoals full of Canadian peat moss mixed in with your native dirt, loosen up the potting soil of your blueberry, and then put it in that. It'll be a little mound, maybe 4 or 5 inches tall in the middle, sort of like a baseball pitcher mound. Add some peat moss to your native dirt, dig a wide hole, plant a little on the high side to allow for settling, and then mulch it. I like tree leaves. Regular old tree leaves will really feed the soil over the wintertime. But the main thing is good soil preparation, because you only got one shot, and blueberries are kind of sensitive, and be sure to loosen up the roots when you plant it. And by the way, a blueberry will pollinate itself. Blueberry, one bush will make blueberries, but if you have two or more different varieties, they'll both produce better. So think about going to a garden center and getting some of the older standards, Tiff Blue or Delight or Climax or True, one of the another rabbit eye blueberry planted in the same hole or next to it. They'll both have better berries.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully that helps out, Amanda. I like how you said instantly blueberries are a long-term type of plant. So don't expect the instant gratification.
Absolutely. And here's another thing. Blueberries have got incredible fall color. They're terrific regular yard plants. If you got a shrub border, put some blueberries every now and then. Brilliant fall color. Use them as regular landscape shrubs, in with azaleas, in with other shrubs, or make a row of them. They're pretty plants. Even if they don't make berries, they're great land, but they need peat moss in their dirt. Only plant I really recommend peat moss, and they need a good soaking, and that's about it.
Now, I wonder if Amanda being in Dexter, Alabama, have any, is all those rules that you gave apply?
Yeah, pretty much anywhere in the South.
Okay.
You get up in the mountains, you get up, in not even North Mississippi, you get up in Tennessee, you get up in northeastern Alabama and up in the top part of Georgia, elevation changes, things change, but pretty much somewhere between the mountains and the Gulf Coast, most of the South has about the same growing conditions.
Okay. And Amanda, she just responded in the chat, said, okie dokie, thank you. I have two other kinds as well.
Good. Well, just plant it well. And what I do is I go ahead and dig the hole and plant something in it, some flowers. And then when we get a frost and the flowers die, I pull them up and stick the blueberry in. That way the dirt's going to be ready well before the blueberries. It's called mellow. The dirt will have a chance to mellow.
And I don't know why I said Dexter, Alabama. I meant Dexter, Mississippi. That's what she just corrected me on that.
I don't even know where Dexter, Mississippi is.
Walthall County.
Oh, Walthall County. Well, that's South Mississippi. Oh, yeah. That's where all the Rushings are from. Felders are from Pike County and Rushings are from Walthall counties. We're probably cousins.
Okay. Well, let's go slide over to the phones.
Java, my great-great-grandfather had 15 brothers. Who ain't I related to?
This is, and I don't know if this is just a Southern thing, but it's like that. You may be my cousin.
Let's talk about it sometime.
Let's go to the phones and let's talk with Peg in Mandeville, Louisiana.
Hey, Peg, what's going on up in the North Shore?
Well, we're having fun. We got some rain finally, and I'm happy about that.
Good. Good. It's good enough for 4 or 5 days.
Yeah. It was a drought for us in our particular area, but we're good now. I had a good luck with my cherry tomatoes, and they grew tall, but they were still blooming. So when they bent down, right where they bent, I put a pot underneath and covered the bend with some soil, and that's been several weeks, and they're still growing because I didn't cut them from the root yet. And I was about to do that, but I was wondering, are they going to produce if I just do that, or should I cut the tops off too, or something like that? I've never done this before. But
did you say cherry tomatoes? Yeah, they should do fine. Tomatoes root all up and down the roots. There's a good chance that those in the dirt have already rooted, assuming it's some pretty good dirt. But what I would do is before you cut it off, I would water the area where they're coming out of the ground really, really good. Not often, but give it a good deep soaking, maybe a couple of times a week to make sure the roots that are growing there are well established before you cut off the mother plant. If you don't have to cut them, you don't need to.
Oh. I think they'd do better just because I can move the pot to somewhere where there's a little more sun now. We got a lot of leaves.
Oh, yeah. These are in pots. I forgot about that. Yeah, go in and just give them a good soaking 2 or 3 times over the next week or so before you snip them. That way the roots will be in good shape, and they'll do fine.
So you don't think I need to cut the the tops off or anything. They're still growing and there's still flowers on them.
Do they have
So
little
I
side
didn't
shoots? They
wanna
have little
cut it.
suckers, little side shoots growing on them?
Not sure, but I did plant some of those, in pots.
Well,
I'm hoping those will
if
make
they
it.
don't have side shoots, I wouldn't prune them just yet. I'd go ahead. I mean, they're not really, really big, are they?
No, I mean, they're over a foot, though.
Oh,
Little bit.
that ain't nothing. I'd just go ahead and here's something else. Even though they're in pots instead of dirt, put some leaves or something on top, mulch the top of the potting soil. That'll keep them wicking dry. But I'd go ahead and just move them. Water them
Okay.
for the next week or so, snip them off and move them. And just put some leaves or rocks or something to shade the dirt, the potting soil.
Oh, I'm so excited that this might work.
It should work.
Yeah. Well, great. It was just my little experiment, but now I have more hope. So thank you
All
so
right.
much, Felder.
That's
Appreciate
what
it.
it's all
right.
about. We got hope,
Yes,
Gardening is not
Yes,
horticulture is production oriented. Gardening is hope.
I like that. You spreading some hope. Hopefully that does work out for you, Peg. Before we end the show, Felder, let's go back to the phones and talk with John in Madison.
Good morning, John. What's up, man?
Hey, Felder. I planted some alternating rows of top-hit pink-eye purple holes with some, I think Echoes calls them cream peas. My wife calls them lady peas. I've got a pretty good mess of one. The cream peas are a little bit later, but how can I keep those things barren until I'm ready to replace them with kale and collards and whatnot?
Well, you really can't do much. They don't need fertilizer. They start making their own. Once they start producing, they'll make their own. So about the only thing I suggest, if I know the rain sometimes hits some people, not others, but if you could give them a really good soaking every couple of weeks, no more than once a week, a good soaking, that's about the best you could do. If you wanted to give them a little bit of fertilizer, I would use some liquid fertilizer, Miracle Grow, for example, but use it at half strength. Whatever it says, put in a gallon of water, put that in 2 gallons. And just a little shot in the arm, but they usually don't need extra fertilizer, just an occasional good deep soaking. And keep in mind that some of these varieties of peas are really bred to produce a lot over a short period of time, and then they peter out. So there's some varieties you won't be able to keep them going.
Okay, but I should get more than one picking out of them, right?
Yeah. Well, it should be continued. Some of these were bred to be machine harvested. They ripen everything all at once, so they just strip the whole, sort of like a cotton field or soybean field. Some produce a little at a time over a long period of time. So you have to go by the individual variety.
Okay. All right. Well, that's very helpful. Thanks a lot.
Okay, appreciate it. Thanks for your call. Oh, boy.
Yeah, appreciate that, John.
John, I came across an interesting word the other day. It's called otrovert. It's not an introvert. Otroverts have a nagging sense that they belong to somewhere. They get along fine with others. They even talk to strangers on the street, but they just feel like borderline outsiders until they marching to a different drummer. And every now and then they find a group of folks but they don't have anything in common with. For some reason, they just understand. And you help bring us together, Java, with this MPB program. People, we don't go to clubs. We don't have a lot of good friends. We're not scared. We talk to strangers, but we just feel like outsiders. This program kind of gives us a safe space.
Okay. Well, I mean, I just play a part. Felder, you've been on the radio longer than I've been alive, man. So
I still manage to push the wrong buttons.
I just play a small little part.
I appreciate you. Yeah, when the internet went down, and by the way, I'm gonna be home in a couple of weeks. I'm gonna be back in my garden. Cannot wait to see what summertime has done to my neglected garden. But I am still going to a few flower shows and looking at a couple of other, giving a program next week in an environmental education center. And one of the things I'm gonna show is how to recycle a tire into a pot. They're not expecting this, Java.
You gonna flip it in live action, or you gonna pre-flip it?
Well, I'm gonna pre-flip it, and then I'm gonna see if I can still do it, because it's been a while. My old shoulder and all like that.
Yeah.
but I'm gonna put it, if I can do it okay, I'm gonna put it back and then flip it for them after I got it figured out. In other words, I'm gonna do a trial run ahead of time.
Because I can remember at the one of those home shows we were at, and you flipped it live on stage.
Yeah, but it was a struggle because I didn't choose a good tire to begin with. I think I got a good tire now.
Okay.
Anyway, it's all good, John. I know when I get back, me and Chris are going to put you to work out in that little garden in your backyard.
I can already believe that. I can believe that.
Yep.
But I do want to say good morning before we get out of here to Herbert from East Memphis checking in on the YouTube chat, and Felicia. Sorry we didn't get to your question, but if you Felder, real quick, do you need to fertilize muscadine vines?
Yes, in the springtime.
Okay, all right. What about blueberries?
Yes, in the springtime.
Okay. And she said, I lost my raspberry plant, just died. Will they come back?
No, probably not. Raspberries put up all new growth in the spring, and they make raspberries the next year, and then that part dies. So if they don't have new growth coming up from the ground, the stuff that's out there this year that had raspberries, it ain't coming back. So hope this putting up new growth from the ground. It'll be next year's berries.
Okay.
Woo.
Yeah,
you were testing me then, weren't you?
Rapid fire.
Okay, and last thing I want to show, I got this pot full of lettuces. It took just a week to get up and growing. Another couple of weeks, I'm going to be having me a salad, and I'm going to get on a plane and come back and do the same thing all over again in Mississippi. Got a lot of time to plant stuff for fall. Don't feel like you're in a hurry. I'm horticulturalist Felder Rushing. Me and Java has struggled with me mightily today, but we appreciate you joining us. If you get a chance, go to a farmer's market or go to a garden center, get you a packet, 2 or 3 packets of lettuce, and start something to pot. In other words, do what we encourage people to do best. Not just think and not just talk and not just learn, but to get dirty and show other folks how to do it too. We'll see y'all next week. Java, thank you so much. And also John C. and Abram and Marissa. We'll see y'all next week.